What's up, guys? It's Stiff Leg. Today, we're going to be talking about our first year bulking. Specifically, talking about our first year bulk, meaning our first full year of lifting. We're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about the potential for muscle growth. We're going to talk about why we need to start out with bulking. And we're going to talk about potential strength gains that come from bulking. So, let's get into it. I would argue, and I think many other people would argue, that in your first year of lifting, it should be nothing but bulking for the average individual. Now, of course, there are some people that are just already holding on to a ton of body fat. That situation could be very different for them. But for the vast majority of people that just started working out, they probably need to start with a dedicated caloric surplus for at least 6 months. I personally would argue their first entire year. So we're gonna get into why that is the case. So start out with the biggest reason is it's going to give you the most potential for muscle growth. Of course, we know that to build muscle, we need to be eating in a caloric surplus, and we need to be eating a lot of grams of protein. I'm mainly going to focus on just calories for this video, and but just know that some people say 0.7 grams per pound of body weight, some people say up to a gram per pound of body weight. It really just, different people have different answers. I personally, if you're getting at least 0.7 to 0.8 grams per pound of body weight, you're probably okay. But the biggest thing here is you want to be in a caloric surplus to build the most amount of muscle you can. Obviously, when you're to start working out, you're going to be putting on a ton of muscle mass very quickly. So to accentuate all that growth, we need to fuel our body. Our body cannot just make more muscle out of nothing. It needs to have the resources to do that. And how do we do that? Of course, by having a big caloric surplus, something in the realm of 500 calories extra a day. That is what I personally would do, and I think many people would probably agree with me. Go on to why we should not cut to start out. Cutting, of course, being a calorie deficit in an attempt to lower our body fat percentage. Well, for most people, they're starting out on this scale between skinny fat, fat, and built. They are starting out on what we call skinny fat. Skinny fat means that you have a high body fat percentage, but you're also very skinny because you don't have any muscle underneath that body fat. So even though you look skinny, you still, do have some belly fat and everything else, and there's not much muscle underneath that. So even if you do cut down into a deficit and you get very lean, there's not much underneath that fat for you to even show off. Yes, you might have abs, but by the time you cut down completely, your arms are going to be 10 inches around. And for some people, that's all they desire, and that's of course fair. So, and of course, going through a first year dedicated bulk, our strength will go through the absolute roof. If you're 160 pounds and you're squatting your body weight, it might take you 3 years at 160 pounds to go all the way up to 315 pounds. While doing a true dedicated bulk, probably in a couple months, you could get up to 315 pounds. Of course, you won't be 160 pounds body weight at the end, but that's not our concern. Our concern for this would be the strength going up. And even if you're someone that does not care about strength at all, and you're just worried about actual muscle growth, a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle. A stronger muscle is a bigger muscle, and vice versa. So here's what your first year bulking might look like for you, okay? If you're an average individual like me, you will start out probably at skinny fat. I was well over 6 foot and about 170 pounds. And I was very skinny, but I did not have abs or any kind of veins, no vascularity, because even though I was very skinny, I had a layer of fat over the little bit of muscle mass that I had. So then we go into a true bulk to start our first year. And I would get all the way up into well into the 200s during my first year bulking. And of course, all my lifts went way up, and my strength was through the roof. And then after a full year of bulking up, we would then cut down, revealing all this newly built muscle mass underneath. Now, if I had just tried to build muscle as I was losing fat, this process would have taken far, far longer. Even starting out, now once you're well into weightlifting, a couple years into it, I think that gaining or trying to build muscle while also losing body fat becomes increasingly more difficult. I would have a very hard time doing that now, but even for someone that is not holding very much muscle mass, it can also be difficult. Of course, we're talking about average individuals here. If you're someone that is already starting out at a very high body fat percentage, I'm talking 40% plus for a guy, 50% plus for a girl, this doesn't necessarily apply to you because your body is going to burn that fat to fuel that muscle building process. But for the vast majority of people, I definitely think that a dedicated first year bulk that we can build as much muscle as you possibly can should be the goal. A great example of this is somebody that is just naturally lean, has never bulked or anything else. They do have abs, of course, but those abs are very two-dimensional. They don't reflect on light very well. Whereas someone that had a dedicated bulk, really packed on muscle, and then they cut it all down, their abs have a much more three-dimensional look to it. They're much more developed. It's a completely different look. Somebody that went through this process and then cut down their body weight compared to someone that was already skinny and then cut down their body fat percentage. So that is the reason why I personally will go through a whole year of bulking just starting out, especially if I had to do it all over again, because the results do speak for themselves. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe for more content, and hope you guys have a great rest of your day.